Hello, Coquette Dragoon Nation. How's everyone going? How's everyone doing? We're back. Day 2, baby, of streaming Coquette Dragoon. Love is a parasite, so I've heard. Let's load up here. Love the music in this game, by the way. Let me know if y'all can hear it. 10:53, 15. Yeah, this is definitely where we were at. If you remembered, my avatar here is definitely in the way. Let me see what I got here. There we go. Move you a little bit. Okay. Well, if I want, like, here we go. Hi, sharing this bed with you, miss. Hello, hi. I'm in the scene. Hello, hi. Okay, I'll put myself like over here for now. Hi. Quick recap from Tuesday's stream. So our main girl Shio grew up in the fringes of a space colony. Then, hey, turns out she can pilot the Gundam. But like in this universe, Gundams are called Dragoons. She can pilot a Dragoon. So she gets taken from her home. Well, not taken. She basically leaves whatever shitty space stations with no gravity and no like actual physical like solid food because they had to eat everything in like bags and stuff. She leaves that life behind. Then she goes on shuttle is the word that I was looking for. On the shuttle, and on her way to the shuttle to the big like capital ship of her country of her side in this war, we see the other side of the war, the duchy, and the duchy starts shooting people. Her shuttle gets exploded. She almost gets rescued by a dragoon, and then that dragoon gets exploded by this lady over here, who was actually aiming at a different dragoon. And this is the princess of the duchy. And they have an interesting relationship. This is her like bodyguard, but right now she's painting her naked. So yeah. And Argo Shio finally survives, makes it to she gets a wound on her shoulder, makes it to the capital ship, and then like meets some more characters and starts making some friends, despite having this anxiety and this fear about becoming a piece of propaganda, a piece of the war. Meanwhile, in the duchy, within the halls. Oh, and also, if you want to be like, Fabi, I didn't understand a single thing you said. Can I just look at the archive? You sure can. Go ahead and click on it. It's down there. Within the halls of a duchy manor, Princess Emile held a pose as the sunset crept across her body. Well, now we need to move this over here, because now this is in the way. I'll be here in the sunset. Lady Honey Rose, which is this lady, her bodyguard, and also her painter at this point. Lady Honey Rose examined Emile's face, a half-formed portrait. Why is it that I was getting these bear noises in my afternoon stream? Anyway. Lady Honey Rose examined Emile's face, a half-formed portrait of the princess gazing out the window on her canvas. Honey pushed her brush into her palette. I meant to tell you, we've been given an invitation to Gray's funeral. Gray was a baron. Our princess here basically goaded him into killing him, into fighting a fight that she knew he wasn't gonna win. Not that his body was able to be retrieved. Emil scowled. Do we really need a service for that cretin? Leading a pointless attack on the Lilac and losing half his men, endangering the crown princess, moi, then dying like a dog without so much as getting a single swing in. Emil sighed. His family is finished. And what? All of this stupidity was for my sake? I'm meant to be happy? I'm meant to be impressed? Emil's voice lowered. How many times has something like this happened already? All from disgusting people like that. Oh no, this wasn't in her head. This was her saying it. Never mind, you didn't hear that. Retake that. And Emil's voice lowered. How many times has something like this happened already? All from disgusting people like that. That man was old enough to be my father. Emil sneered, mimicking her would-be suitors. Princess, come watch me fight. Princess, may I have this dance? Princess, won't you have dinner with me? Please, accept this gift. I bought you a horse, a car, a whole ass mansion. I love you. I've always been in love with you ever since the day we met. Emil held her fist to her chest, breathing heavily. I'm sick of it. I am sick of all these people, all these gifts, all these invitations. All of you. All of you. Just drop dead. Emil, I sympathize. I really do. But please stop changing poses. That was an interesting aside. End of chapter 1. We finished right before chapter 1, huh? So this is probably going to be 3 to 4 streams, I guess. Well, yeah, I guess this will be about 3 to 4 streams. Also, love this looks. Love both of these looks. Hello, my good little spacefarers. Wasn't our debut grand? It wasn't our first time, you know. If you didn't see the first stream, these two kind of just showed up for a second. They're like on a TV show, and the faction that Shio, the Lilac faction that Shio is a part of, she was watching them on the shuttle before she got shot out of the shuttle. Though they probably don't remember us. Well, we did look pretty different back then. What are you talking about? Forget it. Just stick to the prompt. Right. How did you enjoy the first episode of Coquette Dragoon? Wait, what? What? It was a little bleak, wasn't it? Maybe. What? What? Hey, what? Okay, so I guess... Okay, I guess they are like the narrators, and the other bit when they appeared in the story, it's not canon? Did they look different? I thought they looked the same. Maybe? I don't know, I'm surviving out here. Wasn't Shio and Anya's budding little friendship so sweet? They already touch hands and everything. They did already touch hands, those lesbians. I love to touch hands with other girls. It's great. I touched 2 separate girls' hands yesterday. Yes, how intimate. Won't you play with my hands, Philly? You already know how to use a knife and fork. Then, how about spoon feeding me instead? Give it a rest. You love me. I most certainly do not. Aw. So withholding. So completely incapable of honest communication. That's what I love about you. Anyway, time for a segment we like to call Otter's Notes. What voice should I do for Ivy? I guess I'll just do my voice. Hey, hello, I'm Ivy. Thank you so much for reading this chapter. Coquette Dragoon has had a complicated road, which some readers might remember. Originally, Coquette was a comic series, but I only got the first chapter finished as a comic. You'll notice a lot of CGs in this chapter are pretty crunchy, since I reused a lot of my old comic work to add as visuals for this. It's not work I especially like looking at now, knowing I can draw a lot cleaner, but it seemed a shame to let that work go to waste. After making chapter 1 as a comic, I transitioned to an illustrated prose, or light novel if you prefer, format for chapter 2 and 3, but eventually got frustrated with that format too, until I discovered there was a much better way to present text/image in a digital medium, the visual novel. Ultimately, what spurred the change more than anything was learning 3D, which suddenly opened up a way to produce quality backgrounds quickly and cheaply. I've never been good at drawing backgrounds, so the thought of producing 50 plus full screen size pieces for a visual novel was pretty much impossible. So here you have Coquette in its final definitive form. I couldn't do comics because hand-wrist issues meant that drawing workload was impossible, and I wasn't satisfied with it as a prose work either. Visual novels strike that perfect balance, however, while also allowing for so much more. I can't believe Coquette turned into such an elaborate production while still being pretty comfortable to work on. Thank you for reading. I look forward to showing you more soon. Next time on Coquette Dragoon. This would have been great if I had kept going at the end of last chapter, but I didn't, so fuck it. Next time, which is right now, on Coquette Dragoon. A heartwarming tale of girls' friendship among the enemy ranks. Chapter 2, Artificial Soul Genealogy. Man, that fucking name. Thank you for reading. To be continued. Like right now. Like in this exact same moment. Like I'll click start and click chapter 2 Artificial Soul Genealogy. The gunshot gets me every time though. The squeak not so much. The gunshot does. Boop. Oh, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to click or not. Love is a parasite. Coquette Dragoon. Move you a tiny bit. There we go.
Love is a parasite Eve.
Love is a parasite Eve, says Marie from the other room. I love her very much. You're my parasite Eve.
Hell yeah. I'm the powerhouse of the cell.
You are the powerhouse of my cell.
Hell yeah. I'm going to catch people on fire.
Hell yeah. That's what mitochondria does, right?
Yeah.
Lady Honey Rose. Oh, it's her. It's the quiet bodyguard who paints her princess. I assume at the request of the princess. Lady Honey Rose leant forward over the mansion balcony, the sound of champagne corks and laughter spilling out from the suffocating dining hall behind her. It was a typically. Oh, Jesus Christ, how I cannot speak today. It was a typically extravagant affair, attended by all manner of the duchy's nobility and ranking officers. With no taste for these kinds of gatherings, she had never bothered to learn what family's house this was, nor the occasion. It all just blended together anyways. Honey's ears twitched as she felt a gaze run across her back, an unfamiliar pair of footsteps creeping up from behind her. Oh, hello there. Hi. Hello there. Hi. Hey. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hello? Hi. A woman draped herself across the railing beside her, a glass flute of colorful liqueur swaying in her hand. I've been watching you a short while now. You haven't spoken to a single person since you arrived. Honey glanced over at her, offering no reply. The woman giggled. You are as quiet as they say. My apologies, Honey murmured. It's expected of someone like you. Actually, maybe it's a little better for you that way. Not that I really want to talk about you. Rather, it's your relationship with a certain princess. Honey remained expressionless as the woman eyed her pitifully. It's a little strange, don't you think? A woman like you, with no social standing to speak of, and nothing to her name, suddenly finding herself besides the future queen? Well, I'm sure you don't need me to tell you the rumors going around. Bless you! She eyed Honey, probing for a reaction. The woman scoffed quietly, taken aback by Honey's steadfast silence. I hope this is listenable. I was like, I'll give her vocal fry, and then without ever doing vocal fry before in my life. So, our princess is rather unlike her mother, but everyone knows they share the same sense of compassion. It's a compelling little story of yours, isn't it? Her voice lowered. I can see why she would fall prey to something like that. The woman's expression turned harsh as she leaned towards Honey. Don't you feel any shame taking advantage of her grace's charity? Before Honey could give any response, squeak! Honey! There you are! I found some cake you absolutely have to try! A red-eyed girl chimed, clutching Honey's arm. Honey glanced down at her, unsure how to respond in this noblewoman's presence. The red-eyed girl winced in embarrassment upon noticing the woman beside her. Ah, so sorry if I'm intruding. I didn't notice you were having a conversation. The noblewoman gave a kind smile. Just making small talk. Nothing important. She gave an amused glance back at Honey as she walked off, something that felt like, oh, so you do have friends. Shall we head inside? Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you came. I'm sorry I was a little late. I'm so glad you came. I'm sorry I was a little late. The pointy-eared girl beamed up at Honey, leading her by the arm. This cheerful wolf, Lady Belle Chime Katzbalger, great name, was the sole reason Honey had dragged herself to this tiresome gathering. She was a peculiar noblewoman, the same age as Honey, and of similar poor social stature. They had only met recently, with Belle deciding almost immediately she was Honey's best friend and clinging to her side whenever they met. I found this cute little cake section over here. It smells really nice. Belle smiled up at her. I like the little barks in the song. Take a seat. I'll be right there. Mm-hmm. Honey nodded. Honey sat herself down and watched as Belle excitedly picked out desserts, her tail swaying behind her. Belle's appearance always stuck out a little, her disproportionately long ears and tail overtaking her diminutive frame, her wide eyes a distinctive, vivid ruby. Here, an event attended in suits, gowns, and dress uniforms, Belle was draped in an oversized outdoor cloak, clutching a toy rabbit. Looking at her, Honey felt a little concerned at the kind of attention she might receive. Though eccentrics were fairly common in the ranks of nobility, all things considered, I'm probably an eccentric too. I'm back! Tactical squeak. A second one, Jesus. You have to try these. Gay? Gay? Homosexual? Gay. So, you know what? This is a perfect time. Oh, thank you for saving the screenshot and dead naming there. It's not my fullest dead name, but there we go. Ah, fuck. Sorry. Distracted myself. I want to cut this. Go to Twitter. Oh my god, did I break everything? No, everything's okay. Everything's okay. I'm just gonna do this. We gay, come watch. Boom. Apparently need to reload over here. We saw live, everything working? Haven't broken anything? Well, there's no way of knowing, so I will continue. Say, Belle cooed, slowly pushing a small cake to Honey's mouth. Honey let out a little sigh and complied, opening her mouth. Cute! This girl, really. Honey closed her eyes as she ate, hiding from Belle's gleeful smile. It was truly delicious. I love how she never stops. Hey, 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 She's just dancing. She's just vibing. Vel balled her hands to her chest, bouncing side to side. Is it good? Is it good? Do you like it? Honey nodded a little, embarrassed at her reaction. Belle was always pleased to exploit her weaknesses to sweet things. Belle smiled warmly. I'm glad. I was a little worried about you. Honey awkwardly swallowed as she stared, confused at Belle's expression. Belle gestured to her long, fluffy ears. I heard how that woman was speaking to you. I don't know what it was about, but she wasn't being very nice to you, was she? So, I just wanted to make sure you were okay. Belle fidgeted. Are you okay? Are you okay? Hey, Chad, are you okay? Honey blinked, gazing into Belle's eyes for a moment before turning away. It sounded like a question asked to a child, but it wasn't insincere. What am I meant to say to that? Taking her silence as an answer, Belle set aside her plate, gently wrapping her hands around Honey's arm and resting her head on her shoulder. Homosexual behavior. Honey hesitated a little before leaning against Belle and turned. Gay, homosexual, gay. The good shit, baby. She knew it looked odd, being fed cakes and fawned over by this strange girl. But nothing in her wanted to push Belle away. Would it be cruel to dismiss her feelings as an overreaction? There is nothing to worry about, Honey murmured. I'm okay. I promise. You sure? Honey gave her a nod. Mm-hmm. Belle gave her a smile, seeming content and a job well done of comforting her. I still have more cake I want you to try. Belle sung, her mood changing in an instant. You have such a mature image, but you really do love such cute things, like you, bitch. Honey sighed. Don't tease me. I'm not. I just think it's sweet. Belle smiled confidently. Honey said placidly, as Belle continued testing the surge on her, watching her face closely with the light. Do you like this one? More or less than the last one. Maybe a little more. Mm-hmm. Belle rubbed her chin thoughtfully. I see. I want to know what your favorite is, so I can always bring you some. That's very thoughtful. I think I'm full now, though. The growing pains of the scientific process. Honey sighed, handing Belle back her plate. I love watching you eat. Yes, I can tell that. You make such a cute little face. Belle warbled, raising her hands to her cheeks in adoration. If you say so. Honey sighed, averting her gaze. I'm hungry. Do you want a drink? I can go fetch you one, Belle asked. Honey meant to shake her head in response, but Glancing back, Belle was looking at her with such an expectant smile, tail wagging eagerly behind her. If you're offering. Belle leapt to her feet, spinning on one foot to face Honey. Heh, I'll try and think of what you'd like. I love them. I want nothing bad to happen to them. And chocolate mousse and vanilla swirl with strawberries. In this war story. Ivy, don't you dare hurt the girls. I will cry on stream, and it'll be on your fault. Belle hopped out the doorway, stretching her arms towards the sky. It's not too cold. Oh, I'll repeat that. I don't like that take. It's not too cold? Honey asked, following Belle outside the manor. It's a little chilly, but that's no problem. Alright, Honey nodded. I want to poke around the gardens. Doesn't it smell lovely out here? Honey watched over Belle as she crouched before a flower bed, her tail swishing back and forth as she pressed her nose to a flower. While Honey didn't find these manners particularly interesting, Belle always enjoyed wandering around. Belle was innocent and curious, forever smiling with a carefree air. The Catsboggers were a powerful, secretive family, controlling a great deal of the Duchy's military industry. Many of the weapons Honey was familiar with were assembled in their factories. From the family name, Honey's initial image of her was the typical spoiled young heiress that filled ranks of high nobility. But even to someone as disinterested in the gossip of the noble classes of Honey, the reality of Belle's circumstances was readily apparent. For Belle's sake, Honey didn't want to speculate or pry, but it was impossible to avoid. Those long pointed ears, that fluffy tail she was always wagging behind her. How did she feel about them? Her mother was a horse. Her father was a deer. And yet, their child was a wolf. It wasn't hard to figure out, even at a glance. In a land of piety, fidelity, and the family name, a bastard was just about the most shameful thing you could be. To make matters worse, Belle's mother died giving birth to her, and the identity of her lover was unknown to anyone but her. And so, Belle was left alone to live in a house she held no blood relation to, and who, by the customs of nobility, were under no obligations towards her. That's all Honey knew. Honey crouched beside Belle, cautiously to avoid stepping on the cloak spilling out onto the grass around her. Belle always wore the same style of clothing, oversized black garments that obscured her entire body. Are they nice? Honey asked, looking at the flower bed. Mm-hmm, Belle nodded. Belle leant forward, her hand delicately reaching out from the bundle of cloth to pluck a few flowers. She held it below her chin for a moment, and then turned to Honey. Their eyes locked for a few breaths before Belle gave a smile of recognition and leaned forward to place the flower in Honey's hair. Belle was always so close to her, giving her those small glances, asking for her approval. So cute, Belle cooed, admiring the decoration. Honey watched her sincere smile, wondering how her own face read in turn. She couldn't smile back. She wanted to thank her for this and for earlier, but the words wouldn't come. You're as quiet as they say. It was true. Everyone knew it about her. Her thoughts could never work their way out of her mouth, and when she did speak, it was with little emotion. Unless it was about work, everything she wished to say caught in her throat. Whether or not she felt she really needed it, Belle showed her kindness. Who else ever treated her like that? What could she offer in return for Belle's sincerity? Rising to her feet, there was one small thing she could think of. Oh? That's strange, Belle purred with a mischievous smile. What is it? You don't normally offer me your hand. Honey sighed, lifting Belle to her feet. Well, you usually take it anyway, so... Belle giggled, squeezing Honey's hand. So, you do like to hold hands. Hello. Scientific process. Yeah, no, I had to get it. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Zirconia. Yes, we're gaming. We are gay gaming. Gay lesbian gaming. The Gay Lesbian Gaming Alliance. Process. I love Belle already. I love her so much, and this has only made me like Honey more. Ivy, if you hurt either of them, I will cry on stream. Do not. So, you do like holding hands then? I mean, it's nice. Honey stuttered and trailed off. I'm glad you think it's nice, Belle cooed, smiling as she pressed her toy rabbit to her chest. Honey sighed, letting Belle lead her forward. Gay, homosexual, gay. Just like me for real. Honey kept her hand clasped together with Belle's as they wandered the paths through the gardens. The wolf-eared girl... What? Zirconia? Don't scare me like this. Don't fucking scare me like this. No spoilies. No spoilies. More likely than you think, Nancy. Jesus Christ. More likely than you think, Nancy. I can't speak today. Blank. Nancy. Why can I not speak today? I know. But I'm so scared. My babies. If you didn't catch the first volume or the beginning of the stream, Nancy, feel free to ask me questions. But this is What If Gundam with animal girls, and the Gundams are called like dragoons, and this is like the Principality of Xi'an-ish. Yeah. Honey kept her hand clasped together with Belle's as they wandered the paths through the gardens, the wolf-eared girl leading her to anything and everything that interested her. Somehow, it felt a little different taking the initiative for once. Belle's hand was so small and bony that it wasn't hard for Honey to wrap her whole hand around it. Sexual activity. He's a huge fan of kimono girls? Okay. I've never kimonoed girls. I have never kimonoed any girls.
It's incredibly mid, but a fine time.
You're incredible. No, you're not incredibly mid, but you're a fine time. My wife is yelling at me about kimono girls from the other room. Gay. Her skin was always cold, and she always hunched up a little when they were outdoors, even with all those layers. Honey squeezed her hand a little tighter, hoping to provide some warmth. You sure fucking were, you lesbian. She could feel scratches and marks on the tip of Belle's fingers. She seemed like she had a hobby of sewing. It seemed like she had a hobby of sewing, and was quite clumsy, really. Being able to understand someone a little better just through touch. Had she ever felt such a thing before? She wondered what Belle could read in turn. Whether she could feel the markings of handling knives and rifles. Homosexual, yep. Or that she cut her nails so short to avoid the disgust of cleaning blood from under them. Wandering the garden together, it was all Honey could really do to simply follow behind Belle, nodding along to her idle thoughts voiced aloud. Those are pretty. Isn't it cute? I love how these smell. Belle would turn back to her, looking up at Honey's face with a smile. Honey was never able to really start a conversation with her or anyone. But it was simply Honey's attention that was enough for Belle. She wasn't expecting Honey to try and force herself to speak, nor did she take her silence as disinterest. In all honesty, Belle wasn't the type Honey ever really saw herself going along with, and her enthusiasm did throw off her balance a little. But being around her was peaceful in its own way. Belle liked to talk, and Honey liked to listen. She clung to Honey's side, leading her by the arm on these little explorations. When they sat down together, Belle would lean against her and play with Honey's fingers. Belle shrunk around others. Honey could feel her grip tightening around her arm when a stranger got close to them. What was it about being at Honey's side that made her feel so calm? Gayness. She couldn't see what Belle saw in her, but if she could protect that uneasy heart, even a little? At the sight of a hedge carved into the shape of a swan, Belle slipped out of her grasp as she excitedly darted towards it. Honey slowed to a stop, looking over the garden. Flowers grew in scarlet tones and filled the air with a lavish scent. The shimmering water features reflecting the orange sky her people felt so proud of. No matter where she looked, she found beauty. Anyone would call it that. Beyond the blooming flowers of the gardens was the splendor of gentle rolling hills, forests, and fields of grass. In a world floating in space, such a sight was hard to believe. It was a miracle. Anyone would call it that. The ground beneath her feet felt like mud. The open sky felt like it would tear apart and swallow her. She took a deep breath and loosened her clenched fist, watching Belle skip happily to the next bed of flowers. Seeing Belle framed against her surroundings, Pain run through Honey's chest. If the world could only be smaller. Oh, I don't think I've seen these before. Belle crouched before a bush of flowers. Do you know what they are? I wouldn't know. Honey shrugged. Botany was not one of her skills. I love the animations Ivy gives to Belle in particular. Like always moving, the pirouettes, it really helps her come alive. Oh well, they're pretty though. Belle bounced to her feet. Honey nodded, taking Belle's hand. I'm always making you follow me around. Sorry. I don't mind. I like walking. Are you feeling better? Honey hesitated to answer. She didn't want to think she was bothered by that woman from before. Belle laughed a little, smiling up at her. I can tell you cheered up a little. Huh? You're timid when you're relaxed, but speak quickly when you're tense. It's very cute. Honey gazed down at her feet. Well... Also, I don't know if you've noticed, but you do whack your tail sometimes when you're in a good mood. Belle giggled. Honey grabbed her tail with her feet. Honey grabbed her tail with her free hand to check as Belle laughed. You really are adorable sometimes. Honey exhaled and looked away, Belle tormenting her with a playful smile. I appreciate the compliment. Hey, so, Belle's voice grew quieter. Sorry. I couldn't really do anything before. On the balcony, I mean. All I could do was interrupt and play dumb. Honey shook her head. I also have a lot of adorable friends. I wouldn't ask you to put yourself out. She paused and bit her lip. But I appreciate you looking out for me. You really didn't have to. I don't like people being mean to you. I want to say something to her, but I got scared of what she'd say back. I cry pretty easily when people are mean to me. Belle smiled, amused at herself. I wouldn't let her. Honey shut back reflexively. Belle giggled. Scary. Sorry. I really do mean that though. I know. Belle smiled and gripped Honey's hands tighter, murmuring after a moment of quiet. I missed you, you know. Honey rubbed the back of Belle's hand, unsure what to say. Is it okay to ask for a hug? Belle circled around to face Honey. I didn't give you a proper greeting before. Honey gave a nod, gingerly holding out her arms. God, the tactical squeaks. So good. Belle leapt at her full force, giggling as she buried herself in Honey's chest. Gay! It really is nice to see you, Honey, Belle hummed, her arms wrapped tightly around her sides. It's nice to see you too, Belle, Honey murmured, raising her arms to Belle's back. You're always nice and warm. Belle giggled. Gay? Gay? Gay. Gay? Gay. Gay, 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 gay. Gay. Honey's face stung with a flush of embarrassment, squeezing Belle tighter in response. I missed you too, Honey stuttered. Aww. Belle smiled. Honey timidly raised her hand to Belle's head, and Belle eagerly leaned into her open palm. This girl! Honey slowly stroked the back of Belle's head, receiving a small giggle of affirmation. She could feel Belle's body being pulled side to side by the wagging of her oversized tail. Belle stood on her toes, nuzzling under Honey's chin, gleefully as Honey scratched behind her ears. You're so kind. No one else ever hugged Honey like this, or was so joyful to be in her company. She still wasn't quite used to it, but it never felt like there was harm in playing along with her. I'm church full of honey energy again, Belle sighed happily as she finally let go. What does that mean? Belle giggled, clutching her toy rabbit to her chest. Yeah, I was gonna ask. I was gonna commend. You're, drooling a little, Honey noted. Belle giggled, leaning against her. Because I'm so happy, and I'm a dog. Honey sighed, taking her handkerchief from her pocket. Come here for a moment. Oh, is she gonna hold her face? Belle happily obliged, leaning against Honey and looking up at her face with a blissful smile. Honey carefully wiped Belle's mouth, her tail wagging behind her. Belle stuck out her face proudly, basking in the attention Honey was giving her. Honey sighed, patting down the stray hairs on Belle's head. She really was like an affectionate puppy. Sorry. I got a little carried away. Honey folded her handkerchief, putting it back in her pocket. It's really no problem. It was mostly used to buy blood anyway. Oh. Yeah, no, I don't know if that... Let me go back. Was that in character? No, okay. How have you been lately, anyhow? My duties have kept me busy. Honey remembered all the annoyances surrounding Baron Gray's disastrous military foray, his subsequent death, and the funeral that she had to attend. But I've got some free time for now. I've been fine, I suppose. It's nice to spend some time at home. I can't even imagine having the kinds of responsibilities you do. I really admire that, you know? It's nothing special, really. How have you been, yourself? Honey asked. Belle held her toy rabbit above her head with both hands and gazed up at it. I've been a bit lonely, I suppose. She glanced at Honey and smiled. But that's okay now. Honey paused for a moment, tugging at her sleeve. I don't always have free time, but I don't mind talking on the phone or anything like that if you're lonely. It's okay? Belle's voice filled with an anxious excitement. Of course. If you don't mind talking to me, I mean. Yes, they made Freddy Fazbear gay and I love her. I like talking to you, Belle interrupted, clasping Honey's hand. I really do, honestly. You're always lovely to talk to. It was normal to talk on the phone with friends. Why did it feel so strange to ask? Because you're gay and you're in love with this girl. Honey stared at her feet as they walked together. How have you been lately? What was the real answer to that? The repetition of firing her rifle into a target, adjusting the sights, and firing again until it was perfect, scraping out the residue from the barrel, her clothes smelling of gunpowder, trying on shoes just so that no one could say she couldn't afford them, bandaging the scrapes on her ankles, the endless hours of transcription of charms and sigils, compensation for her lacking magical ability, the prayer for her body to be cleansed of poison and for her heart to remain unfeathered. None of these things she wished to discuss with Belle. As she wound back the clock further and further, there was never anything else. Soaring through space on golden wings, sensory information penetrating her body like needles. The relentless observation of worthless dead on a worthless battlefield. How long had it been like this? How had this become everyday life for her? She was never meant to be nobility, never meant to be a soldier, and never meant to be close to royalty. A uniform of black and gold, and the envy that came with it. Designer fashion, designer shoes, designer warships, and designer dragoons. Practicing her aim, practicing her etiquette, again and again, all blurring together. What is any of it for? Aside from the princess and her family, no one had ever gotten close to her. She studied others through the lens of a scope, never allowing them a place in her heart. Until this strange red-eyed girl appeared by her side. Right from the start, Belle was different. She wasn't interested in any of the things Honey felt were so inhuman. It was also calm and mundane. Spending time with her felt like she was living a different life altogether. Holding her hand, hugging her, conversations of compliments and teasing remarks. That kind of playful friendship was something she'd given up on ever experiencing. I'd like to talk more with you, Honey muttered, rubbing her thumb against the back of Belle's hand. Belle nodded enthusiastically. Of course, I'd really love that. They both stopped at the end of the flower garden, a dirt path winding into a thicket of trees before them. Oh, a secret path, Belle narrated cartoonishly. Or just a regular walking path, Honey murmured. Do you want to follow it? I assumed we would. Lilac Fleet Special Division Room Command Cafeteria. We're back to Shio, I assume. Because that was, like I said before, that was basically the Confederate of Sion, so the Principality of Sion, and now it's the Lilac Fleet. Yeah. Shio lay slumped against the table. A plate of untouchable pizza. Shio lay slumped against the table. A plate of untouchable pizza. I want untouchable pizza. Untouched pizza slices sitting in front of her. A table, chairs, a whole room just for eating it. It was such a simple thing for anybody, she supposed, but it was still hard to wrap her head around. All eating amounts to in Zero G is just stuffing nutrition into your body. There was nothing very social or fun about it. You took your rations and ate them on the spot, and then you got back to work or whatever else you were doing. If anything, having to eat was just a pain. Even a small amount of crumbs would get into your hair or under your clothes. As excited as she was to get here, to eat real food right now, she couldn't bring herself to touch any of it. Giving up on cutlery already? Ayane landed on the chair next to her. Maybe? Shio gave a small laugh. Looks like you've given up on food altogether. Ayane leaned forward. What's up? Shio looked up at her, ready to deflect the question, but it was obvious Ayane wasn't going to ignore it. She couldn't tell if Ayane was particularly perceptive or just overly forward. I have a test flight tomorrow morning. Without so much as glancing around, Ayane slid a flask out from the inside of her shirt and began pouring it into Shio's paper cup. Hey! For your nerves. I'm not really a drinker, Shio sighed, raising the cup anyway. You should eat. I know. Shio took a sip. Whatever liquor Ayane had given her didn't go very well with lemon soda. You'll be awake with a sore stomach if you don't. Yeah, I'll get a sore stomach drinking this anyway. Shio exhaled, taking a slice from her plate. Ayane gave her a grin of approval. Shio returned a small smile, taking a bite. It didn't really taste like anything, and getting it down her throat didn't feel like accepting food so much as swallowing paper. But at least she was doing it. Do you want to go for a smoke after? Ayane chimed. Yeah, that sounds good. Also, hey, now you're eating spaghetti, Shio noted, looking at Ayane's plate. Ayane jabbed her fork into a meatball. You put the worm in my brain for it. I'll be having pizza next, I guess. Shio laughed a little, taking another bite. The Duchy of Lucia. Back to the Principality of Sion here. Hey, honey. Wait a second. Belle? Meow? I'm like terrified. Aww? Okay, I was terrified. That feels nice. Belle murmured her breath quietly. Belle murmured her breath. Oh, wow. I might redo that whole thing. That feels nice, Belle murmured, her breath quietly labored against Honey's chest. Are you sure? Honey fretted, her touch as light as possible against Belle's back. They'd only walked what felt like a short distance together, and then Belle had collapsed. Despite her energetic personality, Belle was an incredibly frail girl. She tired easily and frequently fell into dizzy spells. It wasn't the first time Honey had seen her like this. It doesn't hurt, Honey whispered. Don't worry. You're very gentle, Belle answered warmly. Honey tightened her arms around her just a little. Do you need anything? I'll be okay in a little while, I promise. Honey nodded. I like it when we sit like this. Me too, Honey whispered. Belle smiled. You're being really nice to me tonight. Honey gave Belle a light squeeze to embarrass. I want to be nice to you. Belle giggled weakly. My plan to win you over with cakes worked better than I thought. It was nice. Honey stuttered. Is it okay if we sit like this for a bit longer? Of course. Take as long as you need. I'm glad. Belle pulled Honey's hand tighter around her. Is it okay if I ask you to hold me like this again sometime? When I'm not feeling sick? Of course you can. Can I sit on your lap too? Mm-hmm. Honey nodded. You're really the best, Belle murmured, turning her head and nuzzling Honey gently. Honey shyly raised her hand up the back of Belle's neck, strands of wispy hair falling between her fingers. Belle giggled. You're really spoiling me. Honey gently scratched Behind's ears, unable to reply. Belle rolled to her side, making herself comfortable against Honey's chest, her tail wagging gently under her cloak. I'm really glad you're here. You too. Belle smiled with an eye half open, turning her head up to look at the canopy of branches. The light through the trees is so nice. Don't you think? I think it was worth the walk out here. It smells nice here too. Belle paused before giving a small laugh. I wanted to say that I like nature, but you can't exactly call it that, can you? But still, I like those things. Belle closed her eyes, burying her face in Honey's chest. Hey babe, you have missed about an hour of gayness. But thankfully, there's more. Very quick. Belle is like you. She's a puppy girl, but what if you were tiny instead of tall and buff? Tiny and weak, but you were still very excitedly a puppy girl. And then Honey is... honestly, Honey's a lot like you. She's tall and big and quiet and has a hard time talking to people. But she's like very protective over Belle. You smell really nice too. I like things that smell nice. I think my favorite smell is vanilla, she murmured, as if talking to herself. Like vanilla scented soap, you know? Honey rubbed the back of her head. Belle rolled onto her back and looked up at Honey's face with a hand curled into a paw. Do you think I like smelling things since I'm a canine? Honey shrugged, gently pushing Belle's bangs out of her eyes. I wouldn't know. Honey sat by Belle's side, watching her sip a glass of juice through a straw. How are you feeling? Asked Honey. Belle giggled. I was healed by the power of love. Honey sighed, both exasperated and relieved. It doesn't hurt anywhere? Just a little. Belle gestured to her chest. It should be gone soon. Honey ran her hand across Belle's back. Does that help? Belle wriggled about happily. It wasn't clear if it was helping or if Belle just enjoyed the attention. Let me know if it gets worse, okay? Belle leaned against her. You're cute when you fuss over me. Yeah, I think Honey's a cowgirl because of the little horns in the ears and the long tail. Cowgirl is fine. Yeah. You're cute when you fuss over me. I don't do it to be cute. You care about me a lot, don't you? Of course I do. You're my friend, Honey said quietly. I'm really glad to hear that. Oh shit! It's a dude! Fuck! Before Honey could reply, a young soldier approached the pair. Forgive me if I'm intruding, my lady? The man stuttered, his nervous eyes fixed on Honey. He was wearing the dress uniform of a low-ranking officer, a unisex sailor cap adorning his light-gold hair. Oh, it's no bother at all. Oh, it's no bother at all. Belle chirped politely. Oh, ow, pain. My body's giving me pain. That's fun. Oh, it's not bother at all, Belle chirped politely in a proper noblewoman's voice. Honey declined to reply and stared at him blankly. My lady? He inquired towards Honey. Sir, Honey hissed. You're speaking to me as an officer of the Royal Navy. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. The man bowed his head. I would like to discuss something with you in private, sir. I apologize, but my friend isn't feeling well, so I would rather not be separated right now. Honey responded mechanically, resting her hand on Belle's shoulder. Gay! Forgive me, sir, but it's rather important. It was obvious which family he belonged to and what he wished to talk about. Unlike most of his family, however, he wore the uniform of the Royal Navy, not a private force. Honey sighed before rising to her feet. Well, speak, but I won't leave her side. Do you understand? Honey's so hot. Honey stood with her back against the stairwell railing, eyeing the man before her with a cold indifference. Belle sat at a distance atop the stairs, away from the pair. From the moment he opened his mouth, his weakness was overwhelmingly apparent. It was a typical case. The uniform he wore told her enough. He had been tossed aside by his family and sent off to the battlefield to either die or grow up. It's about Baron Grey. You were there when it happened, right? Honey remembered Princess Emile's drunken outburst to her after the funeral. A truly remarkable military failure. What did he think would happen? Of course, we can walk right in. We're practically spitting distance from one another, but if it was as simple as that, we'd have won this pointless war a century ago. Just how stupid does he think our enemy is? Does he think this war's just some big fucking sport? Truly, what a wonderful example of the rotten, unearned pride of this deceased noble class. Imagining sinking a battleship is as simple as a hunting game. The sooner men like him all get themselves killed, the better. If Emil wanted him dead, then as far as Honey was concerned, he should be dead. Yes, I was there, Honey answered. I'd like to know how he died. Surely, you already know. I want to hear it from you. You saw it happen, right? He challenged a lilac pilot to single combat and died upon their lands. But his objective was to lead an attack on the ships on the edge of the fleet. Why did he distract himself with that? I wouldn't know. What I want to know is, was he asked to go into combat? If you're going to ask questions, I would like you to speak plainly. My apologies. Did Her Grace ask the Baron to take the field? Honey narrowed her eyes. Are you suggesting it's her fault that he lost? No, forgive me. No. I wanted to understand the situation. I'm his nephew, you see. I'm sorry for your loss, truly. Honey intoned without emotion. But I have nothing special to share with you. It was simply a defeat. I see. May I ask about the pilot? I can't say I know their identity. All I can tell you is that the dragoon is named Honeybee. It's quite distinctive, bright yellow and pink. I tried to destroy it when I had the chance, but it seemed like it dodged my shot. If it really did... I see. Thank you, sir. I'll look into it. Honey gave him a silent nod. The man examined her expression with apprehension, realizing that he wasn't going to get much else from her. I should be going. Sorry for taking up your time. Honey sat beside Belle with a tired sigh, chin in hands. Belle fidgeted. I heard a little. I probably shouldn't have. Oh, no. Don't worry about it. Sorry if that was a little awkward. You really didn't want to leave me alone. Of course not. My knight in shining armor. Honey gave a small scoff. Is everything okay? I didn't quite understand what you were talking about, but it's nothing. Really. Nothing, huh? Belle mulled over her words. Think I'm getting to understand you a little better. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, Belle sung. She sprang to her feet with a giggle. Let's look around some more. Cute. Are you sure you're okay to be running around? Honey asked, watching Belle strut beside her, balancing on a garden wall. You're the type who likes to worry, aren't you? Belle chirped, swaying back and forth. Nobody likes to worry, Honey muttered. Maybe it's not alike, but you're never shy when it comes to concern. Belle twirled her cloak flowing. You could say it's the shape of your love. Honey sighed. I don't know who's supposed to be saying that. Okay. Anyway, it's the nature of a wild beast to recklessly do all it can before it collapses. I can't help myself. And you're a wild beast? Honey looked up at her. This is so cute. I'm a carnivore, aren't I? Belle boasted, baring her fangs. I suppose, Honey murmured, unconvincing. Aren't wolves omnivores? Yeah, that was the line. Belle laughed and hopped down from the wall, taking Honey's hand. Besides, you don't scold me for it, do you? Honey shook her head. I wouldn't do that to you. I could kill your dragoon until you tell me, baby. You really do like me, huh? Tonight was the first time you called me your friend. I mean, I've thought about that about you for a while now. You're a good friend. Tactical squeak. Belle pressed against her side. Praise me more. I'm not sure what to say. Would it be too self-indulgent if I asked what you like about me? Belle smiled. Honey scratched her cheek. Well, I suppose it's that I've never held someone's hand like that before. I mean, Honey trailed off, completely lost. Belle smiled at her, eager for her to continue. Honey closed her eyes in concentration. You treat me in a very sincere way. And you're always very patient and considerate. I'm not good with these kinds of things. But I can hold your hand and talk to you like this, so those things mean a lot to me. Honey burned with embarrassment as she rubbed the back of her neck. I could just have said, you're very kind, and left it at that. Belle laughed, clutching Honey's arm. That makes me really happy. Sorry, let me take that line. That makes me really happy. Honey sighed and hung her head, too flustered to look at her. You're so cute. I can't stand it, Belle murmured, greedily nuzzling against her. I have to feed you more cake. You're drooling again. Like I said, I'm a dog. I drool like a dog, and I wag my tail like a dog. That's how you know I'm happy. Dogs will sometimes wet themselves if they get too excited. I'm in danger. I too like to... Anyway. Unrelated to that, I need to run to the restroom and get some water, so... Enjoy this. Be... right back a Rooney. Yes, 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 indeed. This game was formulated in the lab to appeal to me. It's true. Also, meow. I missed the meow redeem. So let me meow a little bit while I drink water. Meow. 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 Please, don't do that. Come here, Honey sighed, drawing her handkerchief. Belle giggled, presenting her face. Honey wiped her mouth, Belle beaming with delight once more at the attention. I like you so much. I couldn't even begin to start, Belle sung, looking up at her with a sickly sweet smile. Oh no, bear noises. Don't start drooling again already. This much excitement just from saying I like her. Honey sighed to herself. I really do like to spoil her. If I told her I like this side of her, she would get even more carried away. Honey wiped the drool from her hand as Belle giggled with foul embarrassment. Honey sighed to herself. Belle's influence was already corrupting her if she was okay with being drooled on. Listen! Whom among us doesn't like to be drooled on by a cute girl? That's all I'm saying. I have been drooled on by a cute girl. She was sleeping and was on top of me. Well, she was sleeping in the drool, but it was very cute.
Was it me?
Yeah, it was you.
I was like, that or Twiggy?
No,
Twiggy
she gets it from her mother. When you sleep sometimes, you drool and you drool on me and it's adorable.
I wake up with like so much drool.
Uh-huh. You're so fucking cute. Anyway, yes, it was Marie. I didn't want to blow up her spot, but she mentioned it, so she's very cute. If anything, she admired how Eric is posting Marie Secos in chat. If anything, she admired how strongly Belle emoted. Everything she felt showed on her face, by the shape of her ears, the wag of her tail, or drooling out of her mouth. I need to stop thinking about her drool. I need to stop thinking about the drool of the girl I like. I'm always saying that. I can't deny it's a little fun to see her reactions to things, though. Honey sat beside Belle under a gazebo nestled in the garden, eyes wandering to the sky as Belle happily swayed beside her. Meow! It's us. You're the first person to hold my hand too, actually. Belle laughed to herself. I'll admit it since you said it first. I don't think that's shameful or anything, Honey murmured in reply. You don't ever think it's weird that I'm always so close to you? Honey shook her head. Not at all. And it makes you happy, so... Belle nuzzled against her shoulder. It does make me happy. Well, I'm glad. You're always looking after me. You're a really nice person, you know? Belle murmured, resting her head on Honey's shoulder. I don't really think I am. I don't think you even realize how nice you are to me. That's how nice you are. Honey sighed, if you say so. Belle smiled, squeezing Honey's arm and gazing up at her. "Ah, the flower I gave you is gone." "Oh, it must have fallen out. Sorry." "It's fine. I'll try and find another one that suits you. You have such pretty hair. I've been wanting to tell you that." Thank you. Yours is lovely, too. It's very soft." Honey stuttered. "Aww." Belle nuzzled against Honey's shoulder. "I want to try petting your head, too." Belle whined. "You're always petting mine. It's only fair, right?" Honey gave a conceding sigh, tilting her head down. "I can't argue with that." Pat, 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 pat. Yeah! Yeah, 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 yeah. We did it, Reddit. Me and who? The fur on your ears feels really nice. They're all floppy. It tickles a little. You just wanted to touch them, didn't you? Honey whined. I always wanted to know how they felt. It's different from ears like mine. Aw, good girl. Good girls get pets. We miss petting you so much, Erica. The skin's thicker, too. Belle pressed Honey's ears between her fingers. I want to chew on them. Oh, this is me. This is me just randomly wanting to chew on body parts of my partners. Now, even in sexual ways, like, I just fucking... That seems so soft, I want to chew. Honey sighed. Please, don't. Belle giggled, running her thumb up and down Honey's ear. This is weird, but it's nice. Can I touch your horns? Belle asked cheerfully. Honey nodded. Do they tickle? Belle asked, running her fingers across one of Honey's horns. Girls! Is it gay to touch another girl's horns? I love girls with horns. Not really. They don't have very strong feeling. I've heard horns are good luck. Rubbing them is good luck, right? So I've heard. Rub, 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 rub. Belle giggled to herself. I want to chew on these too. God damn it, puppy. Please don't. It's interesting though, isn't it? We all have different ears and tails and such. I mean, I don't have horns, and I never got the chance to touch one. I never known how they felt. I still don't know what it feels like to have them, or how you feel. A lot of things are like that, aren't they? Belle's voice lowered, talking to herself. Honey glanced over Belle, met only with her usual wide smile. Can I touch your tail? Belle asked. Honey shifted to the side, pulling her tail up for Belle to examine. Don't bite it. Belle ran her hands across it, feeling at the short fur before the tip. It's really different from mine. It seems a lot easier to care for. Honey nodded. I shampoo it still. Mine takes forever to dry, Belle whined. Love to touch another girl's horns while she touches mine, it's true. I can't wait to touch your horns, Cassidy. What month are we in? Boom, let me check. So only 1, 2, 3 months before I can touch your horn while you touch my horns. Honey thought about Belle's long, fluffy tail. She wanted to ask if she could brush it sometime. She'd probably start blushing and drooling again if I said that out loud. Belle lifted Honey's tail to her chin. I really want to chew on it. You can't eat my tail. Just a nibble? Nope. I'm just following my canine instincts. I want to chew on your hands too. Honey sighed. Hearing that, I'm reminded of a certain fairy tale after all those cakes. I don't need to feed you cake for you to be sweet and delicious, honey. Honey couldn't help but laugh a scoff. What I meant to say to that... Well, what am I meant to say to that? Belle giggled, pressing against Honey's side. Honey laid her hand in Belle's lap, watching as she played with her fingers. There was something particular about the way Belle touched things. Whether it was honey or a flower or anything else, she was always fixated on holding things, examining them, seeing how they moved, like there was a curiosity to the world and the things in it that only she was seeing. Being touched that way, it was hard to articulate it, but it was nice. Or maybe Honey just liked indulging her. A full course honey buffet, Belle sighed dreamily. I'm really going to be eaten then. She's gonna eat you out, girl! I was meant to be petting your head, wasn't I? I'm glad you're having fun. Honey muttered quietly. Your hair really is beautiful, though. Belle cooed, looking up at Honey. Thank you. Yours, too. I haven't had hair that long for a long while. You could do a lot of cute things with it. Put it in a bun, or a braid, or pigtails. Belle smiled, picturing in her mind. Maybe not pigtails. Honey muttered. But a braid sounds nice. I like the way you wear yours. I like playing with my hair. Yeah, like Jello jackets. Uh-huh. Did your mother ever do your hair for you when you were young? Belle asked. Honey opened her mouth to speak, then bit her lip. Her mother? Honey trailed off, unsure of what to say. Seeing her expression, Belle recoiled slowly, confused and anxious, but understanding enough. Sorry, I didn't... Honey shook her head, trying to regain her composure. No, it's just... The warmth of being held, the smell of her perfume, the feeling of her fingernails running through her hair. All those sensations flickering for just an instant. When was the last time she thought about any of it? Honey looked over to Belle. Her expression was panicked. I'm really sorry, Belle whimpered. I shouldn't have. It's okay. You don't need to apologize, really. All those fun memories Honey had of her. It was only natural that Belle would want to feel them too. Belle looked at her feet, clenching her hands around her stuffed rabbit beneath the table. Honey reached her hand over, clasping the back of Belle's hand. I didn't mean to react that way. I haven't thought about such things in a while. I lost my parents when I was very young. I don't often get to discuss it since, well, most people already know that about me. I'm sorry, Belle mumbled, eyes still fixed downwards. Honey shifted closer to her. My mother, she did do things like that, though, Honey murmured. She really did like my hair, and was always playing with it. I think that's why I still keep it so long. Oh, that's really sweet. Honey rubbed Belle's palms with her thumb. She was always fussing over me. She loved dressing me up and taking photos of me. At the time I didn't really get it, but she sounds like a really nice person. Belle smiled at Little. Yes, she is. She was always very kind to me. I'm really glad. She was a really, really wonderful mother. I don't have any bad memories of her. Belle leant against Honey, wrapping around her arm. It was a difficult thing to talk about, but she wanted to answer Belle's curiosity. The complicated way Belle's hair was braided and tied with a ribbon was likely something she had to learn to do herself. You said I like sweet things. I think I got my taste for them from her, Honey pondered aloud. Breakfast was pancakes every morning, and she let me have ice cream on the weekends. That sounds lovely, Belle smiled. I'd pester her at the counter for chocolates when we were shopping. You sound kind of spoiled. I was, really. Belle giggled, resting her head against Honey's shoulder. If it's okay for me to ask, could you tell me more about what you were like as a child? Belle asked. Of course. I wonder if you'd even recognize me. Honey gazed upwards for a moment, gathering her thoughts. I used to be so loud, and I was always trying to show off to my parents. I liked being praised. I remember in kindergarten, I'd brag when I knew something I was good at. When I knew something. I was good at painting too. You probably would have thought I was pretty adorable. Honey admitted. I think that now, Belle interjected. Back then, I was pretty much the model duchy girl. You didn't know I was once a commoner, did you? Oh, Belle exclaimed with embarrassment. No, I had no idea. I was adopted by a knight and became a lady. The name Honey then? Belle tilted her head. Trans? Trans? Trans. Trans? Trans. Trans? I chose it myself. When we had pancakes, I liked them with honey. Honey murmured softly, resting her cheeks in her hands. Don't get embarrassed, Belle stammered. That's really wonderful. You're trying not to laugh. It's super adorable. You get cuter every second. Honey sighed in defeat. Not even Emile knew that about her name. I wish I could have seen Tiny Honey, Belle cooed. If I had any photos, I'd show you, though. I had my growth spurt quite early, so I don't know if I was ever that tiny. I think I was already taller than you now as a preteen. My oppression will never end, Belle mock sobbed. Aww. There. Honey patted her shoulder. Comfort me! Belle wagged her tail. Honey looked over at Belle, examining her expression. There was something about the way she was smiling. It felt like Belle was proud of her a little. Maybe just grateful to hear her speaking? Belle had never seen the side of Honey before. Had anyone? She never talked to anyone about her mother before. No one had ever asked her. What were you like? If you want to talk about it. Well, it's not a very fun story. But you told me a bit about yourself, so... Belle held her stuffed toy to her chin. When I was young, well, when I was born, I was barely alive. It was a long time before I could even walk, speak, or any of that. I was bedridden pretty much all the time. You can probably guess I spent most of my time alone. That's all I really want to say about that. I mean, there's nothing really to say. I didn't get to do anything. It wasn't very fun. Can't really sugarcoat it. Honestly, for a long time, I thought it was all hopeless, and I'd given up. I really didn't think I was going to survive. I couldn't see a future for myself in any case. Even after that, I was still in and out of the hospital a lot. I had to have a lot of surgeries. Belle raised her arm, her sleeve falling down a little. There's marks still from all the IV drips. She grimaced, quickly hiding it again. Sorry, I shouldn't show you something like that. Honey glanced to her side. No, it's okay. That must have been difficult. Belle rubbed her hands together, pressing her stuffed toy between her fingers. It was difficult. But after all that, I'm able to do things like see the flowers outside, or even be able to dance if I wanted to. And I got to meet someone who's always patient with me, always listens to me, is always kind to me, who calls me her friend. I never could have imagined it. Belle laughed. Sorry, I got a bit sappy. I don't think that's sappy at all, Honey murmured. I'm really glad I'm right here, right now, Belle sighed, wrapping around Honey's arm. I'm really glad too. That stuff inside, I don't know. It's a little hard to describe how I was as a kid. I fixated on comics once I was able to read. I'm still not very good at it, so picture yourself. I was really timid. It was hard to speak much. I really like cartoons. Again, I still do. Bless you. My hands get sore quickly, so I don't play games very often. But I liked watching people play them online. I love Let's Plays. I like pretending to be an animal. You still do, Honey noted. Belle laughed, baring her fangs at Honey in a grin. When I was alone, I do things like crawl around with this rabbit in my mouth like I was hunting. She had to put up with a lot. Belle stroked her toy. I wonder if we would have gotten along, Belle pondered. I think so. I liked reading comics too. We could have played around drawing them together. Belle sighed with a smile, cuddling up against Honey. Hearing all of that, Honey's sighs stung. Whenever Belle looked anxious, Honey felt anxious. When she felt pain, Honey was scared. Listening to her describe that miserable childhood, what could she do? Why did she think there was anything she could do? She cursed her own immaturity. No matter much how she wanted it, she couldn't undo that pain. There was an image in her mind of her younger self keeping Belle company in the hospital room. But that couldn't have happened, even if she knew her. At that time in her own life, there was nothing she could be doing for anyone else. I'm sorry things were so hard, Honey murmured. I had no idea. I should be the one saying that to you, Belle shook Honey's arm. Me? I mean, don't say it's nothing or something like that, Belle pouted. Honey rubbed her neck, glancing away from her. It makes me want to go get more cake to feed you, and pat your head and hug you lots and lots. Which, of course, I was already intending to doing forever. But, well, what can I say? You're important to me. Thank you. You looked a bit surprised when I said I didn't know those things about you. Belle laughed at herself. I I can only imagine what that was like for you. As you can guess, Out of the Loop doesn't even begin to describe it for me. But you never make me feel like an idiot for that. She smiled, squeezing her toy rabbit. Of course. I never want you to feel that way. Honey responded, watching her fidget with her doll. There's still plenty of things that are new to me. Hey, I want to know more about you. Belle held her stuffed toy up to Honey, speaking behind it. What are your days like? I can't talk in detail about my work, but my days off are nice, I suppose. What are they like? It varies a lot. Depending on where I am, I'm out of the house a lot, and I usually spend my free time with the princess. We travel a lot together. Is that nice? I like her company, of course, but it's still mostly talking about work. It's nice to be at the residential palace. There's no connection in or out, so we mostly watch movies. I see. When I'm home, I suppose I wake up, I have breakfast, pancakes and coffee usually. So you still like pancakes? Yes, I do. I practice shooting for most of my morning. I do my shopping and have lunch at a cafe. I clean the house and other chores, and in the evenings I read or paint. I usually take a long bath after dinner. What kind of things do you paint? Usually things like flowers from my garden. Nothing special. Just find the process relaxing. And I like painting a meal. Do you practice shooting every day? Yes, every day I can. It's an obligation as a guard, I suppose. You use the same skills to shoot with a dragoon too. You're really good, right? By official records, I am one of the best in the duchy's history. By some counts, the best. Belle looked somewhat stunned. I don't mean to brag. I take no pride in it. I see. So you don't like fighting? Not at all. No. Is it scary? I'm used to it. Sniping means fighting from an unfair advantage. As a rule, I don't fight unless I'm sure I'll win, and I retreat the moment I'm spotted. But, well, my targets die without ever knowing, so there's always the chance of the same thing happening to me. I'm always cautious of that. Belle didn't reply, gazing into the empty space. The answer upset her, but Honey couldn't bear to talk around the issue. The knight who adopted her was a soldier, just like her, a kind and honest man. He never once reassured her he would come back. Sorry. Belle shook her head. It's okay. I'm the one who asked. Do you want me to get us something to drink? Honey offered, hoping to change the subject. Yes, please. Something sweet, please. No alcohol, Belle chirped. Meow! Oh, cute. I didn't even know they served things like this. Belle gushed as Honey returned with a pair of milkshakes. Yes, well, I think they're meant for guest children, Honey muttered to herself, sitting down beside Belle and sipping from her glass. It's really good. It's a nice night tonight, isn't it? Belle hummed, looking up at the orange sky and playing with her straw. Well, the weather was set in advance to be a nice night tonight. You can be so cynical at times. Really? I think you do have a sentimental side, though. What makes you say that? Belle swayed side to side, winding herself up for what she was about to say. You're in love, right? Honey stared back at her in confused silence. With the princess, right? Jesus Christ, girl! In love. With the princess. Gonna drink a little water. Honey, trying to nonchalantly sip at her drink to avoid answering, began choking at Belle's statement. Belle giggled. So I was right. Honey coughed and wiped her mouth, staring at Belle with a questioning gaze. Well, I always had the impression that deep down you're quite the romantic girl, like me. Honey didn't reply, her face burning. Also, I mean, you prefer girls, right? How do you? Well, I do too. So you can tell these things sometimes. And as for girls who appear to other girls, she's certainly the image of a dashing prince, you know. Honey said nothing, drinking her milkshake as if nothing happened to avoid having to reply. You two are close, right? I want to hear about it. Belle leaned forward and looked up at Honey with curious eyes. Honey continued to drinking in silence for a moment, eventually setting her drink down and giving in with a sigh. There's no point in denying it. I'll tell you about it, but no teasing. Got it. Bill made an okay sign with each hand. I promise. So, again, you two are close, yeah? Yes. In a way. Honey took a breath to calm herself down. As friends, and well, it's a little hard to describe our formal relationship. Oh? Well, officially, I'm her guard. But, well, while I'm deemed fit for the role, there's no real need for it. She can protect herself better than I ever could. So really, I'm a little bit more like... It isn't as formal, but I'm something like her lady in waiting. Legally speaking, I'm staff to the crown. Belle nodded along, her tail wagging happily. Her Majesty employs me for secretarial tasks, keeping track of her daughter's schedule, writing letters for her, things like that. Emile refuses to take any attendance, so sometimes I'll help with her clothes or grooming her tails. She does the same for me, actually. When we travel, we don't take anyone with us, so I've never wanted servants either. Belle gave Honey a warm look, tilting her head slightly. What? You look happy when you talk about her. It's nice. Honey pouted without reply. Are you okay with how things are between you? That way, though? I mean... Honey shook her head. She allowed me a place by her side, and that's more than I could ever ask for. And I have to be considerate of her roles. I'm barely nobility, really. Is she the type to mind things like that, though? For that matter, are you? That's not like you. Well, I'm not going to let you tuck yourself down. Sorry. You're right. I shouldn't. Bill smiled back at her. It was hard for Honey to tell how playful or serious that was. Emile has never cared about titles. I don't wish to cause trouble for her. Bill frowned. But you don't have to think about her image in private, right? You're allowed into the palace, so... Well, yes. I spend quite a lot of time there. But I think our relationship there is something a little more like family. Belle raised an eyebrow. Family? Yes. It does sound odd, doesn't it? But it's the truth. Her Majesty is something of a guardian to me, and I spend most of my school years living in the palace. Oh, wow! I had no idea. It's not really known to the public. I see. I was old enough to be okay on my own, but I agreed that it would be better to stay with them. I boarded at school with Emil, and when we had time off, we'd live at the palace. We acted like any other noble family would, I suppose. We'd dine and bathe together, ride horses and hunt, all those sorts of things. I see, so it's kind of like you grew up together. Yes. We learned a lot of things together. Her Majesty taught us about piloting, how to wield a sword. She also taught me painting and cooking, things like that. She cared for me and Emil then. Sharing those experiences is something I treasure very dearly. Belle smiled gently. That's so lovely. I didn't know you were so close with Her Majesty, too. We don't see each other outside the palace often, so it's not something other people know. I look up to her a lot, and I owe her immensely. She even dresses me. Actually, this outfit was a gift from her. Oh, wow! Come to think of it, Belle and Her Majesty are pretty similar people. If the public knew what she was really like. As for Emil, it's far beyond my place to harbor such feelings. But more than that, I couldn't do anything to harm what we have between us. I see. It does sound like you share something very wonderful. Honey held her hands to her chest, exhaling with a small shake of her breath. She had never said any of this out loud, but it was the truth, and that she shared something special with Emil. That warmth was the thing she cherished most. That warmth was the thing she cherished more than anything else in the world. It was the reason she never gave up her title as nobility. I think that's the longest I've gotten to hear you speak too. Belle beamed at her. I suppose. She's right. That was a lot. For me, at least. Honey sipped at her drink in silence, worn out and embarrassed at having said so much. It felt nice, though, being able to speak openly, thinking about all the things she said. She realized she had a lot to get off her chest about her mother, about her life, about Emil. She'd never spoken about her feelings for Emil before, not with anyone. It had always felt like this world-ending dirty secret. But talking about it with Belle, it felt as simple as schoolgirls talking about a crush. Maybe I am a bit of a romantic. Oh. Coquette Dragoon. Yeah. Save game. How are we doing, chat? 413. We can do a little more. We can do a little more before the end of the stream, I think. Let's continue. I love Honey and Belle. They're probably my favorite characters so far. Which is interesting because one of them was barely in the first chapter and I didn't really like her then, and the other one was not in the first chapter at all. Honey looked out into the expensive dance hall, the night's main event already well underway. Wow, 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 wow. I feel like a princess, Belle laughed. Did you want to join? Honey asked, looking into the crowd. I want to dance with Honey, Belle swung, bouncing on her toes and tugging at Honey's sleeve. Alright. Yay! Honey followed Belle by the hand onto the dance floor, passing through the crowd. Surrounding them were swaying pairs of couples, murmurs of personal conversation all around them. Most had changed into dresses and suits for the dance. It was hard not to feel like an outsider stepping in. These gatherings were highly regimented, with most attendees going through a series of outfits with each little event. It all just seemed like a pain to Honey, and her and Belle always skipped it all to wander around outside anyway. Do you know any dances? Honey asked, taking the lead and finding a quiet spot by the wall. Nope, Belle proudly shook her head. Honey raised Belle's hand. Let's just do a slow dance. You don't need to do anything special. We hold one hand together, like this, and the other on the back. Honey placed a hand on Belle's shoulder. Belle's around the back of Honey's waist. Belle gave a small giggle, looking up at her. Being around Emile and Charlotte, I'm not used to getting to be the tall one. Honey mused. Is it true their furniture is to scale? Belle asked. The couches are maybe a little too big. The doorways are high too, though. That's everywhere. Everyone hopes that one day royalty will visit. Huh. So that's why. It's easier for centaurs too, though people only really took it seriously after the queen's marriage. You know a lot about this kind of stuff, don't you? I hear a lot of conversations, I suppose. Emile's sister Elise talks with me about it sometimes. And Emile does hit her head a lot. Honey sighed. Belle giggled. Honey looked down at Belle's feet. You're doing well. Of course I am. I want to do one of those fun dances someday where I get lifted up and spun around. And I, Fabi, I'm gonna take a picture of this. And then go to Twitter. And then going to quote tweet. This is the gay you missing out on not watching the stream right now. Boom. And then we back. Ooh, poster check. Thank you. I was leaning a little. I hope everyone's having a good time. This is getting really good. Like, honestly, how far we're going, I'm a little not sad, but like I'm internally bummed out that we're gonna catch up soon because we're in chapter 2. There's only 3 chapters currently. So, but this is really good. I'm really liking this. I think I'm liking chapter 2 way more than chapter 1. Even though chapter 1 was more about like, oh, stretch. Meow meow. Chapter 1 was more about the other faction, the Lilac, and like dragoons and the war effort. And this is more just about two girls being gay, and that's what I'm here for, honestly. Any media, I'm like, no, but let's focus on the girl gays, on the gay girls. I know we're as hell, but what about the girls? I want to do one of those fun dances someday where I get lifted up and spun around. We can work up to that one. Belle giggled. You practiced a lot, haven't you? Now and then. This is my first time really getting used to any of it. I'm special. Belle grinned. The only practice I got was with my dolls. Do you like dolls? Belle asked. Oh, do you like dolls? Belle asked. I suppose. I don't really remember what I played with when I was young. I still like them a lot. I'm something of a collector. I like to dress them up, make little dioramas. Oh, you're a Gunpla. You're a Gunpla enthusiast. Oh, you're a Transformers fan. Belle sighed dreamily. When you think about them as characters, you want to get their hair right, just like how you imagine it. I love the feeling of finding the perfect outfit. Sorry, I'm talking a lot. Belle blushed. Honey shook her head. It's fine. She hadn't really been thinking about Belle's voice before, but there was something a little awkward about it. She spoke with a slight lisp, and struggled and slowed down slightly on complex words. She wondered if it was something she only noticed from her own circumstances. Trans? Trans? Trans. But the way Belle pronounced the sounds wasn't quite right, instead of saying them as f. At times, she sounded a bit like a child trying to speak with the vocabulary of an adult. When Belle wasn't looking, Honey had been making glances to her side, gauging the distance between the pair and the other attendees. Honey didn't like people hearing her voice. She did not like for people to hear Belle's too. A pang of guilt gripped her heart. Was she expecting Belle to be mocked by these people if they got close to her? Was that concern, or was it the same judgment? Those judgments once pushed her into all manner of treatment and therapies for her own voice, trans, to low success. Was all she took away from the vocabulary to mock the way Belle spoke too? I'd like to see that collection sometime, Honey murmured. Gay. Belle's eyes lit up. You would? Honey pulled her a little closer. Belle giggled happily, looking up at her. Honey softly rubbed Belle's shoulder, leaning into her. I can see pieces of my reflection in her, I think. I wonder if she feels the same way. She always looks up at me like this. I can tell that she really respects me. Everything I say is important to her. I don't want to be like those cruel people. Belle glanced down at her feet, blushing. I'm glad. I try not to get embarrassed about it. Honey is gonna tie her up like a marionette. It's gonna be great. Honey shook her head. I don't think it's embarrassing. It's good to have hobbies. Belle's ears folded back. It's maybe a bit too juvenile for a firstborn, though. Honey gazed down at her murky expression. The firstborn child of the noble family was the heir and future patriarch. regardless of their gender. There was a certain expectation for a domineering and assertive character, something Belle lacked in spades. Of course, given the nature of her birth, she was never to be the heir anyway, but clearly it was a source of pain for her. If Honey had said she never had that expectation of her to begin with, would it be comforting or an insult? You sound happy when you talk about it, Honey murmured slowly. And that's what's important, right? Belle laughed derisively. Honey nodded. Oh, and that's what's important, right? Belle laughed derisively. Honey nodded, flustered. Belle looked to the side. Sorry, I shouldn't talk about myself like that. I was the one saying don't talk down to yourself. I was wondering, if it's alright to ask, where do you feel you sit with things like that? Belle looked past Honey, fidgeting with her hand. Like what? Well, I guess your family, your role, all that. I want to hear about your feelings. I'm sure it must be complicated for you too. I guess I don't think about it much. I am the head of my family, but... Belle looked up at her, ears folding back as she pieced together those words. If Honey was the head, that meant... My father became a knight through his service, so he didn't really have a sense for it all either. People don't really see me as a family head. Maybe I'm lucky for not really having to consider it. Honey bit her lip. She barely thought about it, let alone tried to vocalize any of it. It wasn't like she made her decisions unconsciously, though. In the noble court, masculine and feminine held their own meanings. While a marriage could be between anyone, the delineation of who was the husband and who was the wife was readily understood, and a deeply ingrained aspect of courtship. For a heir of nobility, becoming a strong and desirable suitor, making a strategic marriage, and controlling your partner to benefit the family was a necessity. For the children that would be married into other families, they were to be submissive trophy and sent off like a gift. I know there's certain expectations. I like my hair long, but I don't like wearing dresses like I used to. Or most women's clothing at all, really. When Her Majesty asked what clothes I like, I asked for this. I mean, I know the clothes you wear aren't really... But it's hard to separate them, isn't it? Both laughed a little. Honey nodded. For Honey, that she was a soldier, that she was strong and decisive in the field, those were all points of praise in her favor. The uniform-like clothing she preferred certainly fit that image. Not that anyone praised her for being anything, but she was always conscious of that expectation. That she came across as meek and passive socially was a negative assessment for that role, though it would make her a more desirable bride. How was she meant to make sense of any of it? If I were trying to marry, maybe I would try and be, well, like you said, but appealing to other women. Princely. Honey fretted, but I can't even imagine it. I can't really do anything deliberately. I don't even really think of myself very strongly as, well, being a woman. Trans? Belle nodded along to Honey's awkward words, looking down at her. It was hard to imagine how she thought of all this. For those married off, they hardly had the right to protest a marriage for lack of compatibility, let alone sexuality. Belle preferred women, but it didn't mean her family would have her marry one. if she were to marry at all. Honey had wondered in their time together, what did the queen think? She married a woman, had children with her. Meryl? Trans? Trans? Trans. Trans? Homosexuality was far from taboo in this nation, but still, among the noble classes, only a privileged handful had the right to choose a partner they desired. How did things end up so rigid? Even free from gender-determining role or succession obligations to the family came to control. Even free from gender-determining role or succession, obligations to the family came to control people's lives, behaviors, and senses of self. The knight that adopted her was a soft-spoken, effeminate man. While he was a prodigal tactician, he could barely stand the sight of blood, and was hardly the perfect image of a soldier. Though praised and granted land and title by the queen, he was the subject of quiet mockery among his newfound peers. Honey sometimes overheard him joke about never being able to get married, and ultimately he never did. She was too young to ever wonder at the time, but how did he feel thrust into this life of nobility? Just like him, she was an outlier from the common world. It wasn't really expected she would ever marry at all, really. The name Rose of Marine was to die with her. So where did Dad leave her? She'd never be a groom or a bride, and she was neither parent or child. But rather than a freedom of choice, it felt like trying to pick between losing options. I think I don't really know what I am, or where I fit in all of this, she murmured, wondering if Belle could even hear her at all at this point. Belle squeezed her hand, leaning closer to her. It's okay. I don't really know very well either for myself. I was just wondering if we had similar feelings, you know? Belle chirped. Honey rubbed Belle's shoulder. Belle smiled up at her. It's hard to put into words, but I don't know if I could ever dance like this with anyone else. I don't think I'd let anyone else feed me cakes or play with my tail either, Honey sighed. That cute little face of yours when you eat gives me the energy to live 100 years. Fat cute. Honey pulled Belle closer, leaning over her to hide her expression. I'm glad you find so amusing. Really though, I love spending time with you. I don't have to think about any of these complicated things, Belle cooed. We can dance and not have to think about our names or our responsibilities. That's very important to me. So, how am I doing? I think I've gotten the hang of this whole dancing thing, Belle asked, lifting Honey's hand and attempting a small flourish. You're a natural. You flatter me, my dear, Belle drawled. Honey raised Belle's hand, slowly spinning her around. I always wanted to do this. I'm glad you're having fun. You too. Do I look that way? Honey asked. Of course you do. If you say so. Meow. Meow. Honey leaned forward in the mirror, running a mascara wand over her eyelashes. She preferred her own makeup, but didn't like carrying it back either. Naturally, the powder rooms and Noble Manors came well equipped with supplies for their prestigious guests. Honey sighed to her reflection. For all the inner conflict, I'm still putting on makeup. As if it's that simple. When we met, you didn't know I was the head of my family, did you? Honey turned to Belle, fiddling beside her with a tube of lip gloss. No, actually. Naturally, I think you're even cooler now. I mean, that must be really hard, though. Do we say cool here? Honey asked. They say it in cartoons. Some people say it's not very proper, though. I like those unproper words. Right. Don't ask why I'm thinking about sis now. But do you ever wonder about things like apple juice and milk? Belle pondered idly. I'm not sure I understand the question, Honey asked, looking at her through the mirror. Like, milk is nice. Apple juice is nice. At least I think they're nice. But you can't mix them together. To feather? To get fur. To get fur. I'm trying to, since they said that she pronounces the as if, I'm trying to do that. But you can mix them together. But there's plenty of sweet milk. And plenty of fruit-flavored milk. Belle fidgeted with her hands and as if trying to squeeze the two concepts together. It's like, I don't know. I just think about these things. I wonder why nice things aren't always sedative. Why strawberry milk and not apple? Belle picked up a tube of mascara. I mean, to begin with, strawberry milk doesn't have any real strawberries in it. Honey, go back. I mean, to begin with, strawberry milk doesn't have any real strawberries in it. Honey muttered. Really? The more you... Ow! Belle flinched, poking herself in the eye as she tried to mimic Honey. Are you okay? Mm-hmm. Honey extended her hand. Do you want me to do it for you? Is there a CG of Honey putting makeup on Belle? God, this has been so good. Of course. Here. Close your eyes. Honey took a cotton swab and leaned towards Belle. Did I smudge it? Thank you. My hands are still shaking a little. Honey frowned. You should have told me. You really do fuss over me. I mean it. I know. I'm sorry. Belle pouted. Honey shook her head. No, sorry. You don't need to apologize. There. All done. Honey lifted her hand. That was fast, Belle said, blinking in surprise. Told I'm good with my hands. Jesus Christ, you lesbian! But what them hands do, though. Super good. Close your eyes again. Honey lifted a one-shaped device plugged into the wall. This part always feels weird. Modern touching makeup used a complex chemical reaction with these flash devices to set, making it almost impossible to remove or smear, though only temporary. Cute. Honey aimed the device at Belle's expectant face. Ah! Belle cutely squealed as Honey blasted her with ionizing radiation. Love to get radiated so that my makeup doesn't smudge. Now, let me do you. If you're done. Belle snatched the device from Honey's hands. I'm done. Yeah, just a little radiation between girls so your makeup doesn't smudge, babe. What's wrong with that? Belle pressed the trigger with glee. Just kidding. I think this society has been giving itself cancer for forever. And I think they're fine with it. Belle pressed the trigger with glee, a hot flash hitting Honey's face. Wow. You didn't even flinch. It's just a little heat. It kind of scares me, to be honest. It's harmless, really. I know. Human evolution and space and all that, but it's like... someone asks you to drink poison and then the antidote? It's the other way around. Like vaccination. Honey corrected. Still, even if you were vaccinated, are you going to drink from a beaker labeled Puru Puru Picapuyo virus? What? It's the principle of it! Does it really bother you that much? Not really, no. I'll blast you with my radiation any day, baby. Belle hummed placidly. Shall we be going? But first I need to tinkle. Belle blushed. Honey nodded, turning to hide her expression. I'll wait outside. You say tinkle. Time to tinkle. ABT, always be tinkling. As Honey exited, she walked right into an unfortunately familiar face. Having fun with your new friend. The long-haired noblewoman from earlier smiled. Honey glanced at her for a moment, then fixed her gaze on the window beside her. The woman tilted her head, smiling in response and stepping closer. It took me a second, but I finally figured out who she is. Honestly, even you can do better than that. She's maybe the only person here more pitiful than yourself. And that's saying something. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you this, but everybody knows that girl is a dirty little slut, just like her mother was. Honey drew a quick breath, turning to face her. You piece of shit. Uh-huh. So that did get a rise out of you. The woman giggled, hiding her mouth with her hand. I'm not just saying that, though. Even you hear what people are saying sometimes, right? It's no wonder she barely shows her face. Honey glared at her without saying a word. Responding at all, was just playing along with her. The woman gave her a disgustingly satisfied, thin smile. Anyway, I have to meet with my husband, since I have one. So, I'll say ta-ta. She stepped past Honey, twirling her hand in goodbye. Honey leaned against the wall. Honey leaned against the wall, her hand clenched and tugging at her cravat. She wanted to say something. Do something. Yeah, fucking straight shit. She wanted to make her apologize for saying those disgusting things. She could do it. Honey was an agent of the palace. Digging up the woman's dirty laundry was as easy as checking her name against a few lists. There were any number of ways to hurt someone like that. Violent images came to mind of the things she could do to her. Honey sighed, rubbing her eyes. It was all pointless. All too conditional and well beyond her authority, if not her ability. The powers granted to her by the palace couldn't be used for something as trivial as a spat in a hallway, and certainly not for some petty personal grudge. More than that, she didn't want Belle to walk out and have to deal with her too. Getting her out of sight as quickly as possible was the best outcome. All done! Belle smiled, appearing before Honey. Honey nodded, extending her hand. Belle reached out for a moment, and then withdrew. Belle started confused. Is something wrong? Belle paused for a moment, browsed through and fumbling for a sentence. I'll be just a second. Honey followed Belle back into the bathroom. Belle was hunched over the sink, scrubbing her hands. She forgot to wash her hands. Scrubbing her hands behind the faucet. Are you alright? Yes, I just felt... I didn't want my hands to be dirty and touching yours. I mean, I did wash them already, but... Belle laughed. I'm sorry, this is all very silly. Honey shook her head. If it helps. I wasn't thinking of that at all. I know. Belle lingered for a moment, then withdrew her hands from the sink. Alright, I'm done. It's all empty up here now. Belle stepped out to the balcony, taking a deep breath. What a lovely view. It's like getting to be up here alone. Honey hung back a little, nodding along. Belle ambled over to the railing, taking a brief peek over before stepping back again. Looking down, I'm a bit afraid of heights, aren't I? Honey moved closer and put a hand on her shoulder. It's alright. Now I'm nice and safe. Honey placed her hands on Belle's. Make sure you don't drop your rabbit. I won't. Belle leaned back against Honey and let out a tired sigh. How are you feeling? Honey asked. I was a little freaked out back there, huh? Sorry. It's alright. Sorry. I should say uncomposed. Like a proper lady, Belle laughed. I think that dance hall was a bit, too much. I understand. I'm sorry. It's okay. I was the one that wanted to go. I don't get scared when it's just us, but moving around a lot, if I fainted in front of all those people, blah. Honey curled her arms around Belle, resting her chin on her head. I wouldn't let anything happen. You'd have Princess carried me out to safety, then? Belle teased. I suppose I would have to. Belle let out a small giggle before sighing and resting her head on Honey's arm. Thank you. Did you know the actual definition of agoraphobia is to be scared of a situation you can't escape from? Belle murmured. Honey gave a small nod. I do. You understand what I want to say, Fen? Honey squeezed her hand. You're so sweet and caring. I wish I could kill anyone who was mean to you. Well, Honey sighed. I'm kidding. At least half kidding. It was Belle's turn to sigh as she pulled Honey's arm tighter around her like a blanket. This will probably sound really strange, coming out from nowhere, but I've always wished I could say something like, even though I look like this, I'm really a boy. Trans? There was a comic I liked when I was young that was like that. The princess character is standing on the balcony like this, and he has to say that to his lover. And he says something back like, it doesn't matter who you are. What I fell in love with was you. It's been stuck in my head ever since. I've been thinking about what we talked about earlier. It's hard to really gather my thoughts on it. Do you want to be a boy? Honey asked. That's a really complicated question to just ask someone, Belle laughed. Sorry. I don't know, honestly. I think sometimes maybe it'd be easier, or I'd be liked more. But it's not that simple. Not for anyone. I like being called a girl, but I hate being called a woman. Gender! 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 Oh, Erica gender! If I had to ask myself what I most want to be, my answer is probably just puppy. Belle laughed. I want things to be simple that way. I think sometimes being a human is too complicated for me. Dogs can cheer people up just by being with them. I always liked the term companion animal. That's an Erica. All a dog needs is tummy rubs, treats, and walks. But wolves can't be domesticated, can they? Belle giggled to herself. Is that why you're so intent on biting me? I can say a thing as strange as that and you don't even bat an eye. I think I'm used to it. And, well, I don't think there's anything wrong with those feelings. I think friendship means being seen how you want to be seen. I'm not going to make fun of that. So, I really am a puppy to you? Belle's eyes gleam. She's drooling again. Don't get carried away. Belle laughed, nuzzling against Honey. Really, though, it's like I said, things don't feel so complicated with you. I was scared, but I could still have fun dancing. That's why you're my favorite. Honey rubbed her arm. I hope you can feel a little better now. Do I need to reiterate on the healing properties of honey energy? Honey sighed, giving Belle a squeeze. Hey, what's it like being able to fly? Belle asked, gazing upwards. Well, not the fighting part, I mean, just flying. I guess I never really get to appreciate it much. It's hard on your body. Does it hurt? I don't really know much about it. It's like experiencing a different kind of pain. I don't know if I could describe it. Your thoughts move too quickly. It takes a long time to be able to rest afterwards. That sounds scary. It is. I see. What's being in space like? Belle asked. It's peaceful. The war aside, it's very quiet. Isn't it hard to get used to? I think for me, it came fairly natural. Is it true Dragoon pilots have to go in their suits? There might be talk about peeing and diapers. Heads up. Content warning, that might be a thing that happens here. I have been warned about this. It's true, isn't it? I'll cherish this image forever. God, this horny girl. I love her. This is my favorite character in the Citadel. Belle drooled. Please, don't. It's too late. I can't control my imagination. Honey let aside and squeezed her arms around her Belle, laughingly and burying her face in Honey's sleeve. Continuing their exploration of the now empty upper floors, Honey watched Belle prance around the empty games room, eyes glittering at each attraction. It seemed like her antics on the balcony had cheered her up, which Honey wasn't exactly sure if she could nod and say she was glad for. But it was nice to see her in high spirits. We've got the whole place to ourselves! Belle twirled around, admiring the games room. Huh. I don't know what that was. Look, can we take that back here? Just like, okay. You'll play with me, right? Of course, Honey exhaled. Yay! Have you ever played darts? Honey asked, eyeing the available games. Janky ass hitbox, yeah? Nope. It might be a little hard. It's okay, Belle smiled. I don't try things because I want to be good at them. Honey tilted her head a little, glancing at her fanged teeth. You can be really cool sometimes, you know. Show me how it's done! Belle smiled, gesturing to Honey. Honey took a tin of darts from the table, then stood behind the line marked on the floor. Come to think of it, she wasn't really familiar with the scoring rules, but Belle wasn't interested in playing an actual game of it anyway. Honey tossed her hand forward, losing the dart and landing it dead center of the board. Wow! Belle cheered. It feels a little like I'm cheating, Honey sighed. It was nothing compared to shooting or throwing a knife. You can do it again, can't you? Like, you know, that pretty cartoon fox spinning the arrow. So in the future, animated Robin Hood has lasted for so long that in the future, when we're no longer on planets and we have evolved to be these hybrid animal people are still watching the Robin Hood cartoon. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if I saw that one. Honey raised her hand, sending another dart into the bullseye. Belle clapped and giggled. Stand for your back and do it! Honey stepped back a little and then turned, pacing to the other side of the room. All the way from there? Belle gasped. Honey raised her hand. Yeah, we probably would get more popular. Honey raised her hand, feeling out the distance. Why did she come this far back? She thrust forward, launching the dart across the room. Because you want to show off, you lesbian. He thrust forward, launching the dart across the room. With a heavy thwack, the dart was lodged beside the other two at the center of the board. Wow! Belle laughed. Eyebrows raised. Honey turned her head, her face flushed. You wanted to show off to me, didn't you? Belle giggled, walking back to the board with Honey. Let me try. Hold her for me, wouldn't you? Belle held off her stuffed rabbit for Honey, slipping her coat back off. I agree, Cass. Belle skipped over to the dartboard, pulling out Honey's darts. Standing at the line, she raised her arm and lowered it again with a confused expression. Here. Honey stepped forward and placed her hand against Belle's. It's hard to explain, but put your fingers like this. Like this? Mm-hmm. And then Honey pulled Belle's hand back. Pull back a little bit and then push your hand forward, keeping it straight. I'll give it a try. Belle pulled back casually, her ruby eyes fixed on the dartboard. With a flick of her hand, the dart fumbled through the air a short distance and landed on the floor. Belle paused for a moment before laughing at herself. Honey offered her another dart. It's okay. It's okay. You can try again. You were right. That is hard. It's a difficult game. Don't stress. Oh shit, it's already 5? God. I'm gonna go for a tiny bit more and then I'm probably gonna end it. I just want to find a nice space to stop this. You say after showing me and all that. Belle eyed her slightly. Sorry. I mean, it's like I said. I just want to see how things feel. Belle smiled, picking up her darts. I never played a sport in my life. Darts is a sport, right? Honey nodded. I like getting to do these things with you. Honey stepped forward, halfway between the line and the dartboard. Here. Try standing a bit closer. You haven't given up on me? I think, I want you to feel what it's like to hit it. You can do it, Honey murmured in her best attempt at a cheer. So cute! Belle squealed. I'm powered up now. Try, moving your hand slowly. Pretend you're throwing it and get a feel for keeping the dart straight as your arm moves. Belle motioned with her arm. Like this? Now, just try and do that more quickly. It doesn't need to be very hard. Belle tossed the dart forward, and with a soft thud, it landed on the dartboard. I did it! Belle grasped. Good work. Bazinga. Good work. Now, try standing further back. Just a little. Belle followed Honey's instructions, taking a few steps back and raising her second dart. She threw her arm forward like Honey taught her, and the dart flew into the board. I really did it! Or just 2 flukes in a row. It wasn't a fluke. Try standing on the line. Belle nodded, bouncing over to the line beside Honey. With a confident smile, she let loose her last dart. Yeah. I did it! Belle jumped up and down. I did it! I did it! Honey held out Belle's stuffed rabbit. You did it. Belle clutched the rabbit to her chest, prancing side to side. Praise me! Praise me! Honey raised her hand, Belle nuzzling the side of her head into it with a giggle. You did well. Honey stroked her head. You showed me how. It was nothing. I mean, I'd be embarrassed trying on my own to begin with. I'm glad I could be here then. So humble. Belle grinned up at her, bouncing on her toes like a pet, trying to lick Honey's face while Honey scratched behind her ears. Honey sighed to herself, rubbing Belle's head. At this point, she couldn't keep saying she wasn't merely resigned to going along with her. Playing with her was fun. Showing off a little to her was fun. Encouraging her was fun. She wished she could praise Belle in a sweet tone. There were all kinds of things she wanted to tell her. She had always heard it said about her that she couldn't emote properly, that her voice was grating, that her presence was unnerving. I could never tell what that woman's really thinking. For Belle, it always seemed like she knew what Honey was thinking and the things she wanted to say. Honey wished she could sound sweet to her, but Belle took everything she said as sweet to begin with. She was scared of touching others, but if she extended her hand, Belle would take it like it was natural. What she couldn't say in words came so easily through scratching behind her ears. Belle was always smiling up at her, delighting in Honey's attention and praise. Honey couldn't smile back at her or offer words in a pleasant voice, but the way Belle looked at her, it was as if she could tell when Honey wanted to smile, even if she couldn't. I think this is gonna be it. Yeah, I'm gonna stop here. So, boom, 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 boom. Let's get some of them housekeeping done. Done for today. I'll be back with more Coquette Dragoon on Monday, 2 p.m. Central Time. I'll be back with more streams on this channel at Monday, 9 a.m. Central Time, with some more Pac-Lan. And I'll be back in general on Twitch if you want to see me on Friday around 9 a.m. Playing Commander over at the One Shot RPG channel. Also, keep an eye out for the Dark Lady Marie channel. I'll probably be there at some point this weekend playing Persona with Marie, because I like doing that, and she's great, and my wife. We got 7 people, so I feel this is a perfect time to raid someone. Let's see, who do we wanna raid? Who do we wanna raid? Who do we wanna raid? Do wanna raid? Wanna raid? I don't know why I'm saying this. Let's raid Aaron. Aaron's great. Let's rate Aaron. So give me un segundo, por favor. And then let's go to my Twitch manager thingy. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Let's click on the thingy. Let's click on the rate thingy. Our internal's playing some clone hero. She's really cute and great, and it's cute to see her hit all them notes. So, please join me, and I'll see you next time. Throw out your bear. Well, don't throw out too many bears. Throw out like 1 or 2 bears if you had them, because otherwise they cover the screen. So don't emote spam, but throw out 1 or 2 bears. Bye bye.